Hi there, I'm Scott Johnson, state organizer of Indiana 5051, and I'm also the author of what we call the Poly Project, which is a tool for grassroots political activism. Now, 5051 has always been about event politics. 50 states, 50 capitals, one movement. When you create an event, events have attributes. One of our attributes in an event is speakers. Events are composed of slots. Slots can hold speakers, musicians, marches, etc. This raises the question of how do you pick the right speaker for an event? How do you get a speaker even? Well, one of the new things that we have just added to the Poly Project is the ability for speakers to apply online. Traditionally, what we've done is we've had a speaker management group. It's a small team of 2 people that went out and found speakers, and they've done a fantastic job. But our goal with the Poly Project is to let 1,000 events bloom. And what that means is we've got to open this up to the world. It is my belief, having worked with this community for 5 months now, I'm a 5-month-old political baby, is that everyone's got something to say. And there are voices out there that are better than you can imagine. And the only analogy I can make is I was present at the birthplace of blogging. I was in the blogging world from 2002 to 2006. I was the founder of one of the first blog search companies, if not the first, Feedster. And what we saw in the blogging world was when we made publishing easier, new voices emerged. Okay? If anyone's currently a food person, you might have seen someone on the Food Network called the Pioneer Woman. I forget her actual name. She actually started as a blogger, right? And I watched her rise by doing nothing more than taking pictures at every step of the process and publishing them, right? Because a picture is worth 1,000 words. So her blog posts, which would each have, 100 pictures, each for a single step of a recipe, they were brilliant. And the reason she was able to do that was because blogging skirted the limits of traditional publishing when using pictures was hard. So similarly, making political speeches has traditionally been hard. Why? Because there's a gatekeeper that you have to get past, right? And I love our event management people, our speaker management people, but they are the definition of a gatekeeper, right? If you don't know who to talk to, how do you make the contact? And the answer is, of course, that you make a phone call or an email, but it's an additional step. Now, all you have to go to our website, poly.indiana5051.org, and you can click on an event, and an event will now have a I want to be a speaker button. And you fill out a web form, and Bob's your uncle. So now that brings us to the question that I'm about to tackle. I know, Janet, I'm getting there. I really am. So the question becomes, who gets to approve a speaker? And the answer is the event team. And now you say, well, who the frick is the event team? So here's how Poly works under the hood. The person who creates an event is automatically the event leader. Why? Because somebody's got to be the event leader. I don't know. Then what happens is we default to adding an inner circle of users, what we refer to canonically as management, right? And the reason we do this is so that there's always someone who has admin privileges on an event, and that means that you don't have to find me if I'm tied up doing something, okay? So it's the person who creates the event plus a group of users called management, okay? And who those users are, that's a question, right? It's just an attribute in a database table. And then you can go and edit that team and add whoever else you want to be on the event team. And those people will have the permissions to go and view, rate, and manage speaker submissions. Now, how that speaker submissions work, well, I need to go back to code and finish that portion of the product. All right. But this gives you at least a little bit of an idea as to how things are going. And basically Poly it's a web database application. Everything is stored in Postgres, and all we do is manipulate bits in Postgres and rows in Postgres, right? Classic web application architecture. And this is an application architecture we know scales. All right. Thank you so much. Bye, Janet. Bye.